Mass Effect Legendary Edition released yesterday, and, as news and hype built up for it, I found myself craving a bit of space RPG action. So I decided to boot up a couple of different games that fit the bill, the original Mass Effect, and Obsidian's The Outer Worlds. Now, these are both perfectly fine games in their own right, but they don't work all that well for me. I can't get into the Outer Worlds lore, and Mass Effect is in third person, so I keep walking into walls. So I find myself looking ahead, looking at the next space-based RPG, Starfield. Starfield is a single-player sci-fi RPG which was announced during E3 2018, and that's pretty much all we really know. Things have been mostly quiet, with no trailers past the initial teaser, no word on when the game is coming out, and no sneak peeks of the gameplay. In fact, we have so little to show that the footage of this video is going to be made up almost entirely from Mass Effect and the Outer Worlds, as the brief teaser has probably played in full by now. But, with zero information, that means I can build up my hopes for what the game will be, so that they can be toppled once we actually get some news. In this video, I'll go over what I want to see from Starfield. First on my list is Aliens. This past week was my first proper time playing the Mass Effect series, and what immediately drew me in were all the different alien races aboard the Citadel. I found myself speaking to members from each of them, wanting to learn more about their cultures and place within the universe. I even scanned all 21 keepers, in the hopes that I'd learn all I could about these mysterious giant grasshoppers. The inclusion of other sentient life forms is one of the biggest draws of the sci-fi genre, but that doesn't always mean it's guaranteed to appear. In the Outer Worlds, there's no advanced alien civilizations to engage in conversation, just a handful of xenofauna which add a little enemy diversity. Bethesda are no strangers to creating alien lifeforms, with the Elder Scrolls franchise being home to both Argonians and Khajiit. Hopefully, this means the developers will be more than happy to create new species for their new IP, giving us different cultures to interact with, and maybe even different races to play as. If we're going to have a variety of alien races, then I think it would also be logical that we perhaps get to explore some of their different homeworlds. Space exploration is a natural desire of any sci-fi fan, and is the second thing I want to see in the game. I want to not only fly about in a spaceship and land on a different planet, but to really get to experience the new world upon which I found myself. If it's home to a thriving civilization, then I want to visit their cities and learn the history of the people. If it's uninhabited, then I want to survey its biomes, and maybe even colonise the place, creating a potential refuge for humanity far from our point of origin. Lately, I've been in some dire need of escapism, and there's no greater form of that than to leave planet Earth behind entirely. I want to see new places unlike anything I've witnessed before, and space exploration is the best way to do that. I feel like I'm starting to sound a little too vague at this point, so let's bring things back down to earth with something more practical I want to see in Starfield: the first/third person camera switch. In modern Elder Scrolls and Fallout games, you can switch between third and first person with the press of a button. This is such an underappreciated feature of the games, as it allows for those who favour one point of view over the other to play the game in the way they find comfortable. I've stated on many occasions that I don't get on well with third-person games. If I'm playing as a character, I want to be seeing the world through their eyes, and Bethesda games allow for that, but not everyone is like me. There are some lunatics out there who would choose third-person action over first-person. I can only assume it's down to some sort of protagonist back fetish, but Bethesda games do let those players indulge in this obviously inferior perspective. Joking aside, having both camera angles is far superior than only one or the other. Although I prefer first person, there are times where I do like to be able to switch into a third person view. Maybe I want to take a look at how my character is dressed, or I want to see how they look in the middle of combat. Having the choice matters, and I hope Bethesda doesn't abandon this great feature that's already made their best games more accessible. The camera doesn't matter on its own though. If the movement and combat controls are clunky, then that will detract from the game, no matter where you're looking at it from. If Starfield wants to be a success, then it needs to have good movement and a solid combat system. Now, the minimum baseline I see Starfield as needing to hit is what we work with in Fallout 4. That's a game with perfectly standard movement and combat systems. Not anything too amazing, but some pretty acceptable stuff that serves as a good enough vehicle for which to experience the game. Ideally though, things will be a fair sight better. It's 2021 after all. Our characters should be able to mantle, slide, climb up ladders. You know, basic stuff that the vast majority of the players are even capable of. The movement of the game really does matter, and it ties into the combat. If I'm locked in a firefight, I want to be able to sprint and slide into cover. I don't want to run into the cover and then crouch down with my head still peeking over the top of it. I'd like to be able to climb up structures to gain the height advantage during an ambush. I need a movement system that gives the freedom to approach encounters in a variety of ways. And as for the combat, I do want something special to go along with that too. A revamped movement system will help a lot, but an extra coating of something tasty wouldn't go amiss. In Fallout we have the VAT system, so we could easily have something similar in Starfield. After all, that's what the Outer Worlds did, and that worked well enough. Before I bring up my next desire for Starfield, I want to talk about something I don't particularly like with Mass Effect and the Outer Worlds. Both games stick the player to a single narrative. Sure, you can have Commander Shepard help people on the Citadel, but you're still focused on fighting the Geth. The Popsicle protagonist may well choose the deserters over the Mayor of Edgewater, but both choices are just there to get you to move ahead in eventually deciding who runs Halcyon. Reaching the end of the main story is what matters to these games. Yes, have some fun on the side and explore the world as you go, but when playing these games, you have to play out the main story as your ultimate goal. The problem is that this detracts from replayability. If I want to do another run through Mass Effect, then sure, I can go Renegade rather than Paragon, but it's still the same journey. I'm going over the same motions, just with slightly different choices. To make an RPG truly replayable, you need to let the player choose if they're going to stick with the main story, or go off and follow an entirely different path for their character. When I boot up Skyrim, I have to escape from Helgen. But after that, I'm free to do what I want. I can follow the main quest to defeat Alduin, but I can also ignore it entirely, instead heading to Riften and becoming a notorious thief, or to Winterhold to join the Mages College. I have played hundreds of different characters in Skyrim, but I've only dealt with Alduin a half dozen times. By creating a game that lets the player character go where they wish from the start, rather than having them be forced along a narrative, you build a game that can be replayed 100 times over. A game where every playthrough can be unique. This is what I want from Starfield. Not a space opera with all the same songs, but a free and open experience with an optional main story and plenty of side activities which lend themselves to different characters. And speaking of which, make it a game that allows you to create hundreds of different viable character builds. When I boot up Fallout 4 for a fresh playthrough, I don't pick the same special stats each time. I can vary things up, a high strength raider on one playthrough and a charismatic sniper on the next. This adds even more to the replayability by not only allowing the path you walk to change, but also the person who is walking said path. As someone who also makes character builds, I do have a slightly selfish motive on this point too, as I'd really like to make character build videos for Starfield, but the only way I'm going to be able to do that is if there's a solid character creator at the start with skills, traits, attributes, stuff like that. On top of the gameplay elements of creating a character, I'd also like the freedom to craft my own backstories. In the Elder Scrolls franchise, you are working off a blank slate. Your character could have almost any backstory you want. Perhaps they are a dishonored noble from a faraway land, or a savage barbarian looking for a fight. You get to make that choice, as the game only starts you with the knowledge that you are currently a prisoner. In Bethesda's Fallout titles though, you're a vault dweller. You've been living underground for a very long time, and that's what you have to work with. Fallout 3 in particular gives you basically zero wiggle room, as it starts from the moment of your birth. I want Starfield to take the Elder Scrolls approach to backstories rather than the Fallout one. The more freedom we have in where our characters came from, the better backstories I can write. Honestly, the amount of stretching I had to do with my Fallout 4 backstories in order to get some truly evil characters ending up living in suburban America when the bombs dropped, it was crazy. Like, go and listen to the Seven Sins backstories, and have a good laugh at the curveball I throw into every single one in order to have murderous villains settle down with a spouse and child. Please don't make me have to do that again, Bethesda. I want to write great characters without weirdly specific restraints such as has a law degree or raised underground. There's one final thing that I'd like from Starfield. I'd like it to come out this year. I want this from two different perspectives. First is as a player, someone who loves single player RPGs and is wanting a new one to consume. Cyberpunk 2077 wasn't the time sink I'd hoped for, and although I am trying out old classics like Mass Effect and Dragon Age, I'd much rather have a modern RPG to get stuck into, and I'm betting plenty of you feel the same way. The other perspective I have is as a content creator, who has managed to become a bit of a Bethesda tuber. Those of us who make our livings by producing content on Bethesda games don't really have much to be getting on with right now. Even if you're still someone who covers Fallout 76, updates have been steadily slowing down with less and less to talk about as time goes on. A new Bethesda game this year would be a real boon for a lot of content creators, myself included. You may have noticed, although likely haven't, that my channel isn't doing great right now. I'm not someone who chases trends, and my audience is mostly interested in Fallout and Skyrim, Bethesda's two big IPs, and nothing much newsworthy is happening with them, meaning there's not a lot of people searching for content on the games overall, leading to less views and videos which don't get recommended. If Starfield comes out and is a great game, then I'll be covering it constantly, as I'm sure plenty of other channels will be. Kado, Camel, Fudge Muppet really could have done with their channel beginning with a C for a little alliteration there, but I guess I'll forgive them. There's a good chance if you're subscribed to me, you also watch their content, and may have noticed that they aren't constantly uploading new and exciting videos all the time, rather just making the odd thing, but still worth a watch to be fair. And that's because they're Bethesda tubers like me. We've been covering Fallout and Skyrim for years, and there's a limit to how many videos we can make on these games, but it's still worth you watching. We don't know what Starfield is going to be like. Maybe it won't be a game for all of us. A few videos when it first comes out, and then back to trying to come up with something for those fans who want to hear more about the two big franchises. But maybe it will be a massive hit that we love. A game with secrets to explore, builds to make, uniques to write guides on, content for us to create and for all of you to enjoy. I really want Starfield to come out this year, but above that, I want it to be good. I'm happy to wait if it's not ready to be released, and I will be patient. But that's not going to stop me from hoping it comes out sooner rather than later. Or at least we can get some news on it, like, come on, nothing since 2018! When's E3 supposed to be this year? It's a month away? Well, fingers crossed we'll be seeing something more about the game then. Anyway, I've rambled on enough about what I want from Starfield. It's time to let me know what you want from the game. Leave a comment below telling me what you want the game to be, or to include. Could be something as simple as hoping it has consumable hot dogs, or you could write the entire plot to the game if you so wish. I'm not going to stop you. If you did enjoy this video, please do leave a like, and feel free to subscribe if you want to stay up to date about Starfield. When we do get some actual real news on the game, I will be covering it. As always though, thanks for watching. Sarge out.